Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelley Whizin and your hosts Lisa and Nancy. So everybody, are you ready to die? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. Embracing life fully after you turn 50 years old. And I'm going to have to do this because the day this airs, I will be 50 years old and one day. So I'm going to embrace this. So thank you for doing this, Shelley. But everyone, you know, we do our Shelley's show, her Soul Diving Sunday show with Shelley Whizin every first Sunday. And Shelley was just featured with a chapter in the book 50 and Fabulous, Navigating Wrinkles, Spasms, and Generational Chasms. Listen, the wrinkle thing, okay, I figured that if I get extra pounds on, I won't have as many wrinkles. And the spasms, I like some other kind of spasms, just saying. But welcome. How are you, Shelley?
I'm very well. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much for having me again and doing this with me. It's always fun to play with you and cover all these interesting topics of life. What I like about you and Nancy, you have so many different interests and you bring them all into the fold of Big Blend, and it's such a beautiful thing.
Well, we love having you on the show because
Thank you.
You know, it's we're the blend because why should we only be interested in one thing? Number one.
Exactly.
I think, we love being the blend because we are, have more interests. And I think that really aligns with our topic today is like, how much stuff do you want in your life? And is it the right stuff? You know what I mean? So if you have a lot of stuff, it should be the good stuff. That you like.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In this book, 50 and Fabulous.
Yeah.
What is it about 50? Because some people really freak out. I'm not freaked out whatsoever. Maybe it's because I drink wine every night. I don't know, but I'm not really freaked out. But people keep looking. It's like, what does it feel like? I'm like, I don't know. I don't kind of freak out, but I do have friends and, people that I know that start to panic. And, I don't think we should be looking at it so much as the number, right?
Right. I agree. I think the word 50 means half, right? 50%, 50 of something usually is a half of something, 50%. And I think like 10, 50, whatever. I mean, I think the notion of 50, it's a half a life already. And so all of a sudden it's a profound number. It's like, wow, 50. It makes you think about life. It makes you think about how old you are. It makes you think about mortality. It makes you think about what's important to you. I think the significance of 50 carries a weight of all of a sudden we become conscious of ourselves as a human being.
It comes out in different ways too. I mean, like I'm sitting there going, oh, it's not a big deal. But then I think, I think back just even a few days, I'm like, okay, how much am I going to do of this? So I think it is there. It's an underlying thing. But then all of a sudden you have the over the hill party, They used to pretty much give you a coffin as a cake when you were turning 50 because now we can live to 100. But like 30 years ago, that wasn't really happening, right?
Exactly.
We're extending our lives. So, we want to be healthy and happy when that happens, right? When we turned 25, then we went, oh my gosh, now reality's setting in.
Right.
And that could have been the halfway mark to like, you're over by 50, because way back when it was. But, it is an assessment, right? And in taking stock of where you are at that halfway mark, as you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a milestone that we have placed on it. We make meaning over everything, right? And so I think when we think about that, like you were right, 25 at the time, many years ago, centuries ago, it was half a life because you barely lived till 50. And you're right. You're saying now that we're living to 100. And so everything is different. We have new diseases. We have all these different kinds of things. And sometimes when we look in the mirror, that's what really got me about thinking about this topic, is we see changes that we didn't expect. Our mind, I don't know about you, I'm sure you might feel the same, but I still feel like I'm kind of stuck on 19. I think that when I bought my one-way ticket to Europe, I was 19, and I just still feel 19, but my body says, no.
Well, yeah, that's always because I think we think of ourselves in our teens and early 20s. And then all
Hmm.
of a sudden, like you get out of the shower and you're like, oopsie, that I didn't have that
Right,
belly.
right.
Um, it was always like promising to come out though. My belly came out of the closet. Well, I figured I had a good time so far. So, it's like, hey, let me out. Let's have a party. But,
That's right.
but the body thing, and that's the freaky thing. And then
Yeah.
people focus a lot on that. And it feels good to look good, right? And you feel
Yes, it
confidence
does.
through that. So I'm not
Yes.
saying don't do it, but, um, people panic about our shell.
Yeah. 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 It's understandable, especially when energy levels aren't the same as they used to be. That is
Mm.
an indicator. For me, I have always had very high energy, and I could work and laugh and play and do all that for a lot of hours in the day. And uh, I find myself not necessarily desiring to put out that kind of energy in the same way,
Mm.
which I also find very interesting because then
Mm.
priorities kind of shift. I had a notion. I remember, I don't know where I was speaking somewhere, and there was a big audience, I think it was in a synagogue. I was giving a talk in a synagogue, and I came across this whole notion of after 40, that's when in the Jewish mystical tradition, they would teach the mystical books and teachings of the mystics when you turned 40. You weren't really,
Oh.
I mean, it was just known that that's when you start learning it. And one of the reasons is because they felt that 40, you got a grasp of society, you got a grasp of humanity, you got a grasp of the universe more than you did before you were 40. 40 was the demarcation point. And then you could learn the mystics, and then you could learn the concepts because they felt that you would have a better understanding of what was happening. And then I thought to myself, how interesting that usually at 40, people start losing their sight. They're seeing, they can't read. I mean, you have readers now, right? Or,
Hmm.
and so, or read, or other, short sighted or long, far sighted. And I think, and on the spiritual level, because I always look at everything from the spiritual, I think that we are meant to go inside and start reflecting, inner reflection. That it's not about seeing on the outside, it's seeing on the inside. And what does
Hmm.
that mean? And the meaning of
Hmm.
your life and what's important to you and what values do you hold? And are you living a joyful, wonderful, as we say, yummy, delicious life? And
Yeah, I think that prepares you for the next step.
yeah,
It's like preparation
yeah, exactly.
without the
It,
H.
right.
But, well,
Well,
yeah, because
it could be with the H because it could be preparation humanity.
I like that a lot. Preparation humanity is good because it's really just going from
Yes,
stage to stage, and people do panic
exactly.
about death, but at the same time, yeah, I think you're also supposed to keep enjoying and experiencing and making sure you
Definitely.
put those things in your life, right?
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
with the book, 50 and Fabulous, I
Yeah.
love the title, by the way. That's
Oh,
a
it
great
became a
title.
bestseller. It became a
That's what I was going to
bestseller.
ask. Yeah, it became a
Yes.
bestseller, and it's on Amazon, all those great places, and the link and is in the episode notes so you can get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
did you get to chat with any of the other authors in the book, or connect with them in
Yes.
any way so that you could all learn from each other too and connect in that
Yes.
level?
Yes. We had several meetings. I would have enjoyed having meetings where everybody talked about what they were writing about, and that we could have a little group session. We did not do that, but that would have been really fun. But I did meet several of the authors. I mean, most of them were on our group meetings, which was lovely. Betsy Chassie she was the publisher of, what was that? Blink? No, Blip. What the Blip? What the Bleep? Remember
What the
What the
bleep?
Bleep?
Yeah, what the
Yeah,
bleep? I remember that. Oh, that was
yeah,
good.
yeah. She was the
Yeah.
producer and publisher of that. What the Bleep?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's
And so
fantastic.
she decided to put another book together. She's published many different books now, but she decided to put this one together because she too was turning 50. And then another friend of hers said, "Oh, why don't we ask 20 different people to write
Mm.
something about turning 50, make it like
What
an
was yours?
anthology."
Yeah, well,
Mine
anthologies are
was,
great. Yeah, tell us
yeah,
about yours.
mine was, Are You Ready to Die? Embracing life fully after 50. I mean, eh, the whole notion, and I talk a little bit in my chapter about my experience to Peru, and that really set me on a real deep spiritual journey of understanding what conscious living means and what conscious dying means, and studying with shaman and getting their perspective on intentionally, when you do go out from your heart. There's like this cohesive light that takes place, and it comes out of the heart and it goes out into the universe. And the goal is to die in cohesive light. And how do you do that? You live your life feeling with a sense of well-being, joyful and happy, and feeling blessed and grateful, and all those yummy, delicious feelings that I certainly want to go out with. And so I know I strive to feel that every day, sometime in the day, and then to
Well,
be able to sustain that.
sometimes wonder about us, the gratitude group on Facebook through musician
Yes,
Johnny Schaefer we've talked about before. And
yes.
I need to get back to that because
Yeah,
it
me
really makes you
too.
look at what makes you happy. And I was thinking about this. We're
Yes,
also goal driven. So
yes,
what we tend to do is write down all the things we haven't done, which is kind
yeah,
of like a shoulda, coulda thing. I know you don't like those
yeah.
words, right?
No,
Um,
could have is interesting. Could have
yeah,
doesn't
that's interesting
hold the
because it still
same.
gives you
Yeah,
some hope in a way, but
yeah,
the
yeah,
shoulds, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
the SH word,
Anyway,
right?
they're
But,
right.
I kind of feel like we should start writing about what's making you happy. And I
I
understand it
agree.
goes with gratitude, but I think sometimes it's like, what is making me happy? Like suddenly you
Me.
feel these little things of joy. It happened to me the other day. We were driving from Asheville to New Orleans, and it's a little bit of a trek, and we needed to get there and just keep going. And I had this really weird extra energy wave. You know how you get to your fifth,
Yes.
sixth. Suddenly I
Yeah.
got to my 20th dimension. I went, what is
Ah,
this? And it dawned on me, I was thinking about this conversation with you, and I was thinking about what, going back into your teen years. And on my birthday, I get to have a Zoom chat with my best friends from high school who all live in different parts of the world. And
mm,
I think that's amazing. So like I'll have mimosas and they'll probably be on tequila or
mm,
something at that point,
mm-hmm,
or not at all. But
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I thought about it. It's like, isn't that amazing? Because I'm a year
mm,
behind them all, and they've all been saying, "Come on, Lisa, come on," and I'm like, "No, I'm not
mm,
ready." But
mm,
I had all these memories of just the simple pleasures we had and the naughty stuff we did, which gave us joy.
mm,
And I
mm-hmm,
suddenly got
mm-hmm,
all, and I think a song came on the radio that was very in our era, and music
mm-hmm,
is always like that. And
mm-hmm,
I felt pretty darn good. And I'm like,
mm,
all of a sudden, like I could keep driving another 200 miles and not take a rest. Well, then all of a
mm.
sudden the rest area came. It's a good thing I pulled over because like I
Oh,
was
yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but,
yeah.
but I was on this crazy high that, and I was thinking about that, how, we all chase highs in some way in our life, right? And what is
Yes,
it that we're chasing?
yes,
There's depression, and I want to talk to you next month or so,
yeah,
on depression and anxiety and things, how
yeah,
people live with that.
yeah.
And yet
Mm-hmm,
here's this complete swing of energy of utter joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not bipolar, but it was just this euphoric feeling, and it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
drug induced, alcohol induced. It maybe
Mm-hmm.
lack of sleep, but it was
Mm-hmm.
it was exciting. And I thought, what if we started looking at all the things that made us joy? And all I was
Right.
doing was reflecting on that and knowing that I'm going to have a positive conversation with loved ones that are
Right.
part of that. Now, if
Right.
we started looking at things that way, how much joy could that bring
Oh my
in a way?
God. I mean, I'm feeling joyful just talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it, what it does is joy. I think when we build on joy and we, like you said, we find the ways and the things that make us feel joyful and that are joyful and that are fun. I have a client who was taking herself very seriously. And I said, well, what if you just do it for the fun of it?
Mm.
What about that?
Oh, I like that. Oh, is she a
And do you know
Virgo
what?
like
That,
me?
I don't know. And that really helps me. It helps me because I'm my own best client.
Yeah.
I'm human. I go out in the world. I look at everything from the human spiritual perspective and the human from the soul's perspective and how all of that works and all that kind of stuff. And I find it brings me a sense of peace when I do that. And when I teach others to do that and help others go through it from that perspective. Because when and you know what, it does come back to this dying thing. And when we make peace with that part of our life is what I want to say. Because death is part of our life. It's part of our life. And sometimes we put it off to even talk about it for so long that all of a sudden we're faced with it and we're now afraid instead of over the years making peace with that experience, whatever that experience, whenever that experience is going to occur, and therefore helps me to live my life even more fully right now because I
Mm.
don't know if the next breath is going to be my last breath. I don't know that.
Mm.
That is an unknown factor, but it sure does put things in perspective.
And going back to the feeling of joy and getting
Yeah,
those perspectives, exactly what you're saying. So we all go through some really scary times in life, be it
yeah,
health, right? Be
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
drama. It could be financial. I mean, the world is
yeah,
donkey right
yeah,
now. I mean, if you look at
yeah.
the news and if you're connected to anything going on in the news right now, I'm really sorry because it
Right,
sucks, right? Oh, no,
right.
there's good stuff in the news. There is.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah.
hope.
It's
So let's just
focusing
say
on it,
that there is some hope is a good thing. I really realize that
focusing on it.
hope helps balance your chemicals
Mm-hmm.
in your body
Mm-hmm.
from going
Mm-hmm.
crazy, especially if you're watching the news or listening to it. But when you're in the utter despair mode, because people do go there, how important is it to realize that it's all temporary? Because it
Yeah.
is. And that's the
Well,
same thing
that's
with
it.
joy, right?
Yeah,
But we want to keep
exactly.
the temporary filled with that as much as we can. So the
Right.
temporary, it's our choice.
Right. That's right, honey.
Oh,
That's
well, let's,
exactly right. Yeah.
so I'm allowed to have mimosas, right? First thing in the morning.
Yes, go have it. And happy birthday.
Oh, thank
Happy,
you.
happy birthday. I mean, it's life is just such a wondrous, curious, mysterious, exciting, sad, happy experience being human. We have all of it. And I think that's what we signed up for when we became human,
Hmm.
is that we want to have, our soul wants to have a human experience, and our soul picked us to live it through.
What do you think about journaling for people? Like right now, if they're getting into my age group, right?
Oh,
And
I say
thinking,
yes. I journaled for many, 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 many years, and it was really quite wondrous. And I haven't journaled in that way in a long time. So I would say definitely. And 50 is a great time to start journaling or continue journaling you know, but we used to call it our diary. It was just somewhere
yeah,
that we could express ourselves. Now we call it journaling.
it's weird. Like I have a bunch of journals that I never finish because I always promise. And it
Yeah.
always starts with, I promise to really do it this time.
Right. I know, right?
And I crack up because and I can
Yeah.
literally remember writing it too, going,
That's
yeah,
so
you're so full
funny.
of it. But,
That's so funny.
but I think
Yeah,
even those little blips that I did, it means something. In fact, I
of
interviewed
course.
an author the other day and she wrote her book, Cancer Moon, it's called. It's a memoir. It's
Hmm.
from going through her 20s because she had a panic
Hmm.
attack over her 20s. Like it was not
Mm.
what everybody, she said, like, how did I survive the best years of my life? I was
Mm.
just like, this is not that fun.
Right,
She was
right,
so
right.
going through emotions and she's like, people think we're supposed to have it all together in our 20s and we didn't. We were all full of shenanigans
Of course.
and trying to work and doing stuff. And so her memoirs, all her, writings of what she was going through, journals
Uh-huh.
and just little blips. And I think we don't have to write like every little thing of the day in your journal. You can just write a blip. You can just go,
Right.
wow, I almost said something I shouldn't. You could
All
just
right.
say whatever. You can say
Right.
whatever, what
Right.
it is. And it gives
Right.
you a sense of place. So I'm glad you said
Freedom.
that because I think, yeah, it's fun. But
It's freedom and it's fun. And it's fun.
yeah,
It's just getting it out and then and
yeah.
then getting getting insights. I always get insights when I write stuff. When I write, I get insights. I learn every time I come up with a program or an idea. It's always something to learn to help
Mm.
shift myself and others so that they can feel that sense of well-being and that they can feel that deep joy and that love and gratitude for living. And
It's kind of
so,
cool to do it if you can take the time to get a journal, get yourself a nice
yeah,
journal for
yeah,
your birthday and then
yeah.
write
There you
down,
go.
like make it a positive habit for yourself because how many
Right,
people take time out for themselves anyway? Not many.
right. You're right.
And
You're right.
even if it's 5 minutes and you only
Yeah.
write a paragraph, who cares? If you write one sentence,
Oh,
who
that's a good
cares?
idea, honey. That's a
Just
really good idea.
every day have a new habit. And if you don't
Yeah.
want, I think the power of handwriting is something we should still look at doing.
Yes, I
But,
agree.
we've all got phones that record voice, and that's another thing that's kind of
Oh, that's
cool because
another
when
thing. Yeah.
you could do a daily little recording, keep it in a file. I mean, we have recordings from when Nancy and I lived in Kenya, and she would make tapes when we had tape players and record,
Yeah.
and we would send them over to our family in the States. And I mean, you
Right.
can hear me as a little kid and Nancy being single mom
Oh,
going to
yeah.
Africa, going, what the hell did
Wow.
I do? As a
Yeah,
single mom in
right.
Kenya going,
I love
oopsie.
it.
And then going, oh, but look, I've got this happening. I've got that, but
Uh-huh.
holy cow.
Uh-huh.
And so it's really quite interesting to
Mm-hmm.
reflect on those moments. So maybe that's cool too for those who don't want to write because
Definitely.
I think people may not want to
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
you know?
Nowadays you can do all these video clips too with, with all this social media business and the way we're,
Yeah. And you
geared
take people
to
walking.
doing
What's
that.
all with that?
Yeah.
You take people
Yeah,
walking in the
I
mornings.
do. I take people walking. Yeah. That's fun. I really like that. I enjoy that. Yeah.
So everyone, if you follow Shelley on Facebook, Shelley Whizin on Facebook, she takes you walkies in the mornings and she talks about things.
Yeah.
Sometimes she pretends there's people chasing her down the street and they're not, just so you understand what's real and what's not, right? It's cool. So she's really, it's cool. Like whenever I see you there, and if I don't catch you on the live thing and I catch it
Yeah.
later, I go, "Hi, Shelley," and then I
Right.
listen. You cover some in-depth stuff just on a walk, so it's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
but
fun. I like to call it walk and talk.
yeah, no, that's really cool that you're doing that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other part is you did write a book, yeah.
Yes,
So
I wrote
you did
two. Well, yeah, now I have a journal that I put out, which
exactly.
and I've got my What Do You Bring to the Table book, which I love. It's a hybrid cookbook and there's mindful meditations in there before you
See,
go
I
in to
think that
cook in the
goes with the
kitchen.
50s. I think that
Exactly.
that's like people should get both books together because
Yes, a
what do you bring
bundle.
to the table is about now, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
so I was just going to say that is and cooking gives you that mindfulness and
yes,
time,
yes, yes, yes,
so that's
yeah,
really good
yeah.
stuff.
And now
Yay.
this book, which I have a chapter in. So it's pretty personal in my chapter. I talk about Peru. I talk about my friend Susan, who passed away, and I was with her, and that was really the first death that I was ever around. And it was probably the most exquisite, um, unbelievable, privileged experience I've ever had in my entire life, next to being at someone's birth. And I was at her son's birth. The woman that died, my friend Susan, she died when she was 62.
That's young.
And she had him at 47.
Ooh,
So he was 15 years old when she died.
that's harsh.
And it was an exquisite exit, is what I want to say. It was an exquisite exit. We always talk about the entrance, but it was an exquisite exit. And it was beautiful and profound and poignant and dignified and sacred and creative and fun. And she made it fun too. You know,
Well,
they
that's
smoked pot, and I mean, she
on her way out. She smoked.
yeah,
Why not?
on
I say
various occasions.
I
Hell
would say
yeah!
that's your time to
Excuse me.
try all the things they told you not to do. Because who
Well,
cares?
now, do you know what? In hospice, in palliative care in Canada, they're using psilocybin and virtual reality to help to guide people out, to steward them out. So there's a whole different reverence being held on this dying experience. And, you know, we can't ever anticipate when that's going to happen. If someone's going to die of a heart attack, it's hard to do. So that's why it's important to think about it and make peace with that moment, whatever that moment is going to be. Make peace with it, feel good about it. And then guess what? When you make peace with it, then you get to feel good about it now. You don't have to wait till then to feel good about it. You feel good about it now.
I love
ready. That's what the shamans say. Are you living your life in totality? Are you living it to the fullest, so that if this was the moment, you'd be ready to go? You'd say, hallelujah, I had a beautiful life. Thank you.
Okay, so I know, I always have to ask you a wonky question, right? It's like my thing with you on the shows. What about, because I know that you bring in hardcore data, neuroscience, and all that stuff, right? So you got the science, but you got the spirit side too. You're one that holds both sides. So you're balanced, Shelley. And she's passionate, fiery, but so she's got the balance. But what about the power of dreams at night or even a daydream? But those kind of visions that are reoccurring, do you think we should maybe look at that as a way of your consciousness trying to connect with you and wake you up a little bit, or your subconsciousness talking to your, saying, hello, I'm going to give you this vision over and over again until you wake up, and maybe do some meditation so you can tap into it further. Because I think there's stuff in dreams that people have reoccurring dreams all the time. And then they start looking, oh, I saw this so many times in my dream. It means this, and you can go to all the spiritual sides of this means that and all that. But maybe when you have those kind of reoccurring things, like I have a friend who's always seeing 1111. I'm like, all right, like maybe you need to go and deal with something. It doesn't always mean the same thing over and over, right? Or something's up. Synchronicity, repetitiveness. There's something trying to knock on your door, and are you receptive? So what about that power when we look at, the being 50 and fabulous, looking at those little signals that might be there that we're going, okay, I'm just going to say that was a dream or whatever, and weird.
Totally 100%. I'm 100% in agreement with what you're saying, because it's every part of our life. Dreams are a form of expression. They're a form of venting. They're a form of sorting out the day. I mean, we dream in different segments, in different layers, different frequencies, right? And as we go down into the frequency and go up into the vibration, right? So the frequency is deeper and the vibration is higher. And therefore we get different messages at different times. So when we're dreaming, we get different messages. We get different kinds of messages. I mean, the Toltecs teach us to ask about our dreams before you go to sleep, or set an intention to dream about something when you go to sleep. So yes, dreams are we dreaming awake, or are we dreaming sleeping? I mean,
Yeah.
we're dreaming all the time. All the time. We're making it up. Even me sitting in a parking lot at the Fashion Square Mall, just, in the shade, being able to talk to you, because, you have to sometimes be spontaneous and dream it up in the moment.
Exactly.
How are you going to compensate? Okay, so my nail broke, right? And I got late because it was so painful. I didn't have any other time to get it fixed, right? So that was a dream up in the moment.
Yeah.
But we're dreaming this up to have this appointment at 2:00.
Hey, we made it happen.
And we made it happen. Right.
So how about this? One night, and very recently, I had a dream about alligators, and I forgot that I dreamt about, and I love alligators. Mm-hmm. I have special places in Florida that I love. I love, and of course now we're going to New Orleans. Well, we are now in New Orleans, but this was the night before we drove to New Orleans.
Right.
And, some plans changed. And I was talking to our friends in Asheville, and I said, maybe it will work out in the better, and we stay in Florida longer, and we can go do our park thing, and we'll see alligators. And I went, oh my gosh, I dreamt about alligators. Well, today we're going to extend all the plans came through, and now we're going to extend our stay in Florida and go to places that have alligators. Is that not weird?
Oh, isn't that great?
So I think
there's signs everywhere. We just get to pay attention. We pay attention to the signs, and we just start connecting dots for the fun of it. How about just for the fun of it? And it's fun to see all these connections.
I love the connecting of dots. That's what I told Nancy. When I get really old and can't do much, I'm going to sit and paint dots on things. Like, that
love
art.
It.
That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be dotty because I want to connect them all. And I'll erase the dots though. But Shelley, thank you so much for making it. And I hope your nail and your finger feels better. And I hope it wasn't your middle finger in case you need to use it.
Not.
But always good having you on the show. Everyone, again, the book is out now. It's a bestseller. You can get it on Amazon and all those places. It's called 50 and Fabulous, Navigating Wrinkles, Spasms, and Generational Chasms. It's out now. And go get Shelley's other books. What Do You Bring to the Table is another good one to go with this book. And all the links for that are in the episode notes. And of course, go to ShelleyWhizin.com, and she can help you with all kinds of things, even looking at your dreams. Next time I call her, I'm going to say, okay, I saw an iguana. Now what? Where are we going? Costa Rica? Or maybe the Galapagos. Hey, why not?
Right. You never know.
Right? Never know. Thanks, Shelley.
All right. You're so welcome. And thank you too.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelley Whizin. Follow Shelley at ShelleyWhizin.com. Follow us at BigBlendRadio.com.